the best sex I've ever had, or the best sexual experience I've ever had, I think was with this really attractive guy who I found on a dating app. He was really masculine. He's like I think he was a trainer or a dancer he had mentioned or something. He came over and we did this mush and it was nice. But the best part was that he asked nothing of me in return. It was the first time, I guess you could say, being pampered, which I guess I was. Went down on me, did the whole shebang, but didn't request anything in return. I'm used to like guys being like, come here, and then like you get nothing in return, which is mostly the problem for most women. But this guy's like A1, like steak sauce, like bomb, come here, motherfucker. And he did great. I have terrible memory. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just don't. Maybe I'm not the only one with the problem, but I don't really remember sex with the people I've had sex with. It's just something that happens. With him, I just know I loved it because I'm like, you did me one. And I'm like, we were supposed to meet for a second time afterwards, but we never did. I can't remember. I think I probably never responded. But he was great. He did do the weird condom wrap thing. After having sex, he wrapped his condom up and like put it in his pocket. I'm like, I don't want your babies. Like, you need to chill the fuck out on that. I'm clean. I mentioned this in the video. Also, I don't know if I'm clipping these together. Having sex with, or no, giving a blowjob for 2 hours straight. I was on my period. I'm not gonna lie. So being in a closed off car, probably not a good thing for smell wise. So maybe that's why he couldn't come. But I mean, he too wanted to meet up again. So it's not like he was turned off. So a 2 hour blowjob, you just didn't come. I don't think it was my fault. But I mean, like I said, I hope he had a good time. I don't have very many interesting stories that I can share. I talked about the weird guy that had the one date. That's the worst one. My first, I guess, well, yeah, losing my virginity time was with a stranger on Badoo. I was 21, probably. 21 or some shit. 21 or like 23 or something. No, I was 21. 23. I was 23, I think. And I met him on Badoo, and I gave him a blow. We weren't even going to do it. I was literally just going to have him over because I was like trying to ease myself into being sexual with partners and shit. And I ended up giving him a blowjob, and then he's like, fuck it, come here. And he laid down and I kept going, and then he ended up actually doing... So my first sexual encounter included my face or my vagina on a guy's face, which is like a rare thing for women I know too. Like face sitting and shit, because he was just like, come here, and he grabbed me, and then the next thing you know, I'm doing my 69 in my first time, and I guess that was cool. And then we ended up having sex, but it didn't last very long. My question in my head when this happened was, are you a virgin, or were you just like that close to like nutting that it just happened? Like, it was literally probably not even like 5 minutes of intercourse. And then he's like, you good? And I'm just, I guess I'm good. And he went to the bathroom, cleaned himself up, and I'm just like, cool. I just had sex with a stranger. And I was just happy to get it over with. That's what the joy was for me. I'm like, I'm Gucci on this shit. And we went outside, had a cigarette, and he went home. And then he wanted to meet up again, like a week later probably. Never did. I never really do seconds, but I don't think I have a problem with my sexual partner. Well, guys, because I haven't been with a woman, wanting more. So, I don't know. I guess that means I'm decent. I'm okay. Okay. How many sexual partners have I had? That was my first experience with a stranger first. And then I had, around the same time, my ex or whatever, which was somebody I worked with, so it was like an on and off thing. I had the one guy who went down on me and didn't request anything afterwards. I had that really awkward, terrible decision with this other stranger that I met on the app. Oh yeah, I did meet a guy on the app, and I saw him like, I want to say probably like 4 times. And unfortunately with him, he was going to be a boyfriend, but because of my quote unquote ex, that did not happen. But that was my fault, so, which sucks, because if I could go back, I would have stayed to try the relationship with him, because I think it would have actually worked out. I do have a question about it though, because there was a point in time where he had a female over at his house, and like I said in a different video, I'm not somebody to get jealous or be like, oh no, that's a problem. He had like a friend over that he called her stay the night, and he told me, or he asked me, I guess that matters, because he did ask me, and it was face to face, if it would be okay. And I was like, sure, I don't really understand why that would be a problem. And my question is, do you think they hooked up or something? Like, I'm supposed to have those thoughts, right? But for me, I was just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But he was cool. He was actually my first date from the app, and he took me to the movies, which was awesome, and we had pizza. But for some reason, I also don't remember that, so it's really hard for me to recollect on memories, because I'm like, I don't even know. You would think you'd remember your first date, but I mean, I have a picture. It's just a screen, and my biggest concern was getting my fat ass on the back of his truck, because he had the little camper, which is where we chilled at. I think we cuddled, I believe so, and then we watched 2 movies. I'm assuming, because it's 2 movies. Why would I go to the drive-in and not enjoy the 2 movies? And yeah, he was cool. Went to his house like 3 or 4 times, like I said. He was cool. I have no problems with him. My problem is not continuing with him and choosing somebody who did not want to continue with me. Ironic about that happened again recently, where I got back in contact with my ex, and then he wanted to be more, so I said yes, because I have a problem, even though I didn't necessarily, well, I don't know if I wanted that or not, but then I was like, we should just be chill friends, like friends with benefits, and then he didn't want that, which is the same thing that happened in the past, but then he started getting all weird and talking serious shit, but like in a joking manner, but like talking about babies and let me put babies in you and shit. I'm like, I don't joke like that. Don't. He's younger than me too. I think he's like 4 or 5 years younger than me or some shit like that. And then like fucking 3 days later, after having a conversation where he's like trying to put babies in me, he has a girlfriend and he texts me on Snapchat talking about, I can't talk to you no more because my girlfriend. I'm like, okay. I don't really care, but I don't like that. I'm like, why are you doing that? I don't know. He's my first, like, on and off, I guess, but I don't really have a problem losing him, which I guess I did. So he's still on my Snapchat. He tried to fucking message, and he does that a lot. He did that. Like, he messaged me about not being able to talk to me because he had a girlfriend. He posted his girlfriend on Snapchat, which is obviously so that I could see her, which is what people think. But I think it was because then he texted me like a day later on Snapchat a thing that he accidentally sent to me and just messaged me. He's like, you weren't supposed to get that. Like, it's like clickbait. Like, don't fucking send it to me. And then, I don't know. I think he broke up with her. I think he tried to talk to me again. Like, and this was like a week ago or like 3 days ago or some shit, which is like a week after like 2 weeks after he'd gone with this person, and told me he couldn't talk to me, and then pretended to send me something trying to say hello, and I just ignored it because I don't want that. I'm bored constantly, but I'm not bored enough to the point where I want to do this back and forth with somebody who, no offense, doesn't really mean, I mean, he means a lot to me. Just, you don't mean anything to me in the sense of I'm going to cling on to you just for the sake of holding on. I don't know. That's how I see it. I'm like, okay, you can't talk to me, don't talk to me. I didn't erase him, which I should. Because in the past, anytime he did that to me, I would just leave it and technically, I guess, wait for something because I knew it would come. But now I'm just like, I don't want it. But I don't want to erase him because I appreciate the conversations that I got to read that I didn't realize that I'd had with him, which was still nice. Because even back then, being in the moment, then, like, a lot of what I reread, I didn't realize I had sent or gone through with him. But even seeing that and like moving forward to this point, I'm like, it's not, you're not an interest of mine. It might be the age. I don't think it is. Well, it might be. I don't know. He always said he was an old soul. Yeah, pretty much. But I don't know. I wrote an entire song for this nigga about feelings that I apparently had. Now that one meant something. But he never even checked it out. I'm like, check out the song. And I've been waiting for him to like be like, oh shit, you wrote that about me? But like nothing. I'm like, okay, either you're dense as fuck and you never checked it out or something. But I'm like, it's not like he just wants his dick in me. Like, the history and then what just happened recently is like enough to be like, you wanted more, but I don't get it. I don't know. I tried to open up to him. I felt like I did good. But then he just stays to himself. So I'm getting better at communicating with people. I know that's not really a problem. It's just, I don't know. Number one peeve for this person is he can never fucking hear me when we're on the fucking phone. So he's like, huh? And I'm just like, oh my God. And the second, I'm like, never mind. He repeats what I said. I'm like, I don't like that. That middle school shit. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And that's all his conversations were. Just fucking, what? And I'm like, oh my God. At one point, it's like flirting and it's okay. But like, if your entire conversation, if every time somebody says something, you have to ask them to repeat it, it's not attractive. It doesn't work. And it's just, oh my God. Just no. Just no. It makes me wonder how he was with his other relationships. Because with him, the problem was originally that he wanted somebody else. It was like a weird thing. Like, this is my homegirl. He's home dude. He's homeboy. We're all friends. But he wants her, so he chooses her. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I stay close for the most part with her. And then it gets weird. But it just makes me wonder how he acted with them. Like, did it work out with them? Were you close with them? Like, what? I don't know. Probably just because he was my first person. But it's not like he was my first date. Or even my first time. Because like I said, the first sexual encounter I had with somebody was with a stranger that I met on the internet. And then with him. Should have waited. Not really. Thank God. Something else to attach yourself to somebody. I mean, at least I got a good song out of it. A really good song. Thanks. I did write a couple for him, I'm not gonna lie. I think that was more for the experience, though. So, thanks for making me happy. Yeah. Something like that. But that's that. I've only had one relationship with him. I've had one daily acceptance of a relationship that I didn't want that ended up in a weird sexual encounter and me giving a guy therapeutical services only to get screwed over. I don't know. I can't forget a different coworker though. I say, based on everything, my best sexual encounter was with a coworker who I used to work with at a convenience store with. And that's just because it was legitimately like, let's hook up. And the whole time he was honest, and it wasn't like he's like trying to string me along. It was just like, let's fuck. And I'm just like, okay. So it was actually on me that I like, because he would flirt a lot at work. And I'm just like, every time I'm like, you know, you keep saying this, let's just do it. And eventually we did. He invited me over. We had drinks. I like pre-buzzed it on 2. I got there. He had me 2 of my cans. We drank tequila. I got fucked up. It was nice though. We had a conversation. I don't know what time we talked up into, but I know I was probably there like 10 p.m., 11 around that time. Yeah, probably like 11. So we probably talked till like 3 a.m. He had work at 6 a.m. And then we finally hooked up. It was bomb. Bomb conversation, bomb drinks, bomb sex that I can't remember, but it was great. It was nice. So I'd say that would be my best sexual experience. Just because it was exactly what it was supposed to be, and it stayed that way. It wasn't awkward at work. It wasn't anything. And then I did have another sexual experience with him. Wasn't as fun because that one was legitimately like, come over, we bang, we get it over with. And that was like, okay, cool. So the first time it was drinks, chill, talk, fuck. And then the next time it was just like, we fucked. And then it never happened again because right after he met a girl, and knowing him, or him being him, he chose to stay with her because she had a big old booty and shit. But she was cool. She was cool homegirl. And then he ended up getting her pregnant. So, I mean, Puerto Rico does that shit. So, I have to say that's a good card for me to have. It was a good one. So, thankfully, I think most of my sexual encounters have been positive. It's just a few that I'm like, no, all bad. But I think that about covers it. I haven't had that much sex in my life. I mean, I have a dildo. That's my most common sexual relationship. Is a dildo. Which is fine. But sex is sex. I don't know. Bomba. I'm not using this to speak. I just felt like having it out because it looks pretty. Yeah. Pretty much. Okay. I think that's it for my talking to myself on the camera. Zoom, zoom, zoom. My eyeball looking bloated still. Still looks like I got punched out or something. Bomba. Ci trovo a huevo, I'll shut through.